energy forecast for Friday, September 1st. So welcome to the very first day of a brand new month, carrying a brand new vibration with brand new life lessons for us to learn. I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and take a listen to the September energy forecast that I put out there. And of course, your zodiac forecasts are available for download whenever you feel like you want to dabble into preparing for what September's energy has to offer. So we do have the moon moving out of the Pisces energy and moving into Aries energy. Now, granted, we're still very much feeling that lingering full moon energy, the full moon in Pisces that we had, but this is an indication of kind of breaking out of that funk, out of that weight, out of that heaviness that many of us were just suffocating under with that peak full moon energy. So anytime we're moving from Pisces energy to Aries energy, it does feel very freeing, very liberating. We're moving out of a very heavy, very emotional, very karmic water sign for a fire sign, the very first sign of the zodiac, where we get to kind of just close the door, rip the rear view mirror off. We're not looking back. We just want to move forward. We have that fire energy really trying to ignite the spark, the fire, the flame within us. We have this fire energy really pushing us to initiate something new out of the endings and closures that many of us are still trying to kind of realize. Now, it may not happen overnight, may not happen at the snap of the fingers, but you can best believe that we are going to feel a little bit brighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit more aggressive, if you will, in realizing what it is that we actually have to do. So we will see the moon go void, of course, at 6:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will lock into that Aries energy at 9:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are 9 different aspects here today. 8 of them involve the moon, and the one that does not involve the moon is going to be a little bit of a tricky one between Mars and Saturn. We'll cover that when we get to it as we go down the list of the aspects for the day. So, of course, we are kicking things off with the moon still very much in Pisces energy, and this is going to be an interaction with the North Node in Aries. Of course, the North Node in Aries is our soul path, it's our destiny point, it's the path, the direction that we have to be on in order to reach our soul's mission, our soul's purpose, our soul's potential. We have this North Node in Aries for the next 18 months, showing us where it is that we have to break away from being too connected, too influenced, too intertwined with the people around us, because of course, we have a new version of self that is emerging that we have to take the time to get to know without being swayed by other people's thoughts and opinions. Of course, this North Node in Aries encouraging us to really not only get to know thyself again, but to stand very strong, very proud in who it is that we are, what sets us apart, what makes us unique, what makes us special, and actually take the leadership role in order to actually initiate a new priority list where our wants, needs, and desires are at the top of the list. The moon interacting with the North Node in this way is definitely going to give us a little tiny bit of a puzzle piece on what it is that we want to do. And a lot of this is just intuition, a gut feeling, an emotion, if you will, on what the very first baby step needs to be. We are in a situation where the new hasn't quite anchored in and the old is still very much lingering. And so it does feel very confusing still. We will need a little bit of time to gain that kind of clarity. But overall, sitting in the funk of the last couple of days, we do realize what is ending, what does need a closure point. And because of that, of course, it illuminates what we can do to actually begin that particular process. The moon is going to come up to bump into, team up with Neptune, who of course is in his rulership in this Pisces energy, but he's retrograde as well, reflecting back, really putting us in a situation to confront some of the things that we've been avoiding, especially where our pain, our trauma has been concerned. We have really been illuminated to what it is that we have to let go of, what it is that we have to kind of clean up as far as the residual energy of the past goes in order for us to move on. Neptune is really kind of giving us an opportunity in this retrograde to face these particular topics and themes head on, which is something that normally Neptune direct is going to have us kind of running from and avoiding. Our belief systems are changing. We're questioning everything. We're collapsing the old belief system that, of course, is very limiting in what it is that we think is possible. Neptune in this Pisces energy is about realizing our dreams, but equally as much realizing the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that absolutely taint those particular dreams and visions from manifesting and coming to life. This particular energy could go one of two ways. We could be, again, very confused, very hypersensitive, very over exaggerated with a lot of painful thoughts, memories, emotions, or we could definitely be breaking free of that and illuminating where it is that we're picking ourselves up, we're drying ourselves off. We could find ourselves inspired. We could have a profound spiritual realization. There's a lot of positives come with this, but seeing as we're all on different kind of paths and journeys and moving through these particular life lessons at different rates, again, we have the ability to really kind of shape and create how this energy manifests, and let's hope that we're all experiencing the latter part. The moon in Pisces is going to interact with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, who is retrograde in this Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, preparing to go direct on September 3rd. Again, another beautiful reason to go ahead, take a listen to the September energy forecast, to your zodiac forecast, and even download the Virgo season e-guide. This is a major shift that we will be going through, very indicative of the changes that we will be making in our physical realm. And the moon interacting with the Venus in this way is definitely going to illuminate the discontentment, where it is that we're not so happy, not feeling so hot, not feeling so good about our current circumstances, especially where relationships and money matters are concerned. Now, we do have to realize what it is that isn't making us happy, isn't making us feel safe, secure, and stable, in order for us to recognize that it is a problem. And of course, we're in Virgo season, so we have to identify the problems before we can attempt to fix them. Now, again, we're in this really weird adjustment period where we recognize who and what needs to stay and needs to go. And we're almost on the precipice, on the cusp of having to take action, initiate conversation, initiate whatever needs to happen in order to make that change actually come into fruition in our physical realms and physical reality. So we're really questioning a lot right now. We're hypersensitive, and so there is an element where if we kind of get caught up in the fears and the doubts and the insecurities and making these major changes, we can find ourselves in a state of paralysis. The moon in Pisces is going to sextile, create a beautiful harmonization with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who is retrograde in this Capricorn energy, helping us to collapse some of the structures, foundations, roles, responsibilities that we've been having on our plate, sucking the life force energy out of us for good. We are attempting to really take our power back and really illuminate where it is that we have an opportunity to turn the pain into light, to turn the pain into power, to turn the pain into a fuel that will help inspire and motivate us to be determined enough to break away from these particular constructs and really find new alternatives that feel more in alignment with ourselves. Now, the moon interacting with Pluto in this way is definitely indicative of a major emotional shift. This is likely the point when we are going to feel some of the heaviness, some of the weight that we've been experiencing, especially on our heart space, be lifted. And no coinkydink here, this is the last aspect that the moon in Pisces is going to make before going void, of course, and of course setting up in this Aries energy at 9:26 a.m. 10:20 a.m. we have the moon now in Aries energy, kicking off with a semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. Jupiter is in this Taurus energy, helping us to see where in our physical realms major changes and transformations need to be made in order to create new opportunities for growth, for expansion, for us to level up in ways that we've only been contemplating as of now. But of course, that Taurus energy being a fixed earth sign, very resistant to even the changes that we come up with ourselves. The moon in Aries kind of creating this tension, this conflict with Jupiter is due to the fact that the Aries energy is very impulsive. It wants to take action. It wants to make moves, especially where growth and expansion, breaking away from the old is concerned. But we can't do that right now. We're not being supported by the universe, by the cosmos to do that right now. With all these planets in a retrograde, we're still looking back. We're still trying to clean up the energetic debris of some of the situations, choices, and decisions that our old self made in order to create the old system, the old foundation, the old circumstances, the old realm that we're currently trying to pick apart and see what needs to stay and what needs to go. So there is some frustration here, and we could feel overly exaggerated with urges, with impulses to take action, to make moves, to break away from the old, to start something fresh and clean. But again, we're not being supported in that. So this is where the irritation, the frustration comes in, because we do have to kind of pump our brakes, so to speak, so that we're not taking action on impulse and creating more of a mess for ourselves. Again, we're in Virgo season, people. This is about planning and strategizing and knowing the absolute calculation of the energy in which we have to exert in order to take action according to the plan that we're coming up with. But many of us not very clear on what that is as of yet. And so the best thing that we can do is just stand still, observe, see where the hints and clues are showing us where it is that we have to look back and clean up the past before we can initiate anything new. The moon in Aries energy going to come up to and directly sit across from and oppose Mars. Mars rules over the Aries energy. Anytime we're interacting with the ruler of the energy that the moon is in, it's an extra oomph, an extra intensity. Mars, of course, is over there in Libran energy, his opposite sign, his opposite energy. He hates being there. He's in his detriment. He's very weak over there in the Libran energy because he had to turn in his weapon of choice, his sword, for the intellectual battlefield, where he has to charm his way and really kind of manipulate his way through negotiation, through reconciliation, through advancing himself on a path that will get him closer to where it is that he wants to be. But if anything right now, we're just trying to hold down from rocking the boat. We don't want to create any more chaos and craziness, confusion in our realms. But that energy, that effort that we're trying to kind of put forth in order to keep everything the same is really kind of tilting the boat in the wrong way, so to speak. That Libran energy, as I previously mentioned, is about finding balance and making peace and kind of creating a happiness in the circumstances in which we're not happy in. However, we're going to explore extremes before we actually find that sweet spot. So the moon sitting across from Mars in this Libran energy, it's going to be a battle royale on what it is that we're feeling, the urges that we have to really just kind of put ourselves first, to reorganize our priorities and values in order for our wants, needs, and desires to be at the top of the list. While Mars is over here very much down for that, but also opening the door to say, hey, I'm in Libran energy. We can't just think about ourselves. We can't just think about me as the individual, because the whole point of this Libran energy is to consider other people and what they may think, what they may believe in, what they may want for us. And this is why there's a disconnect, because Mars isn't used to having to consider other people. He's only concerned about himself. Now that may seem like a little bit of a selfishness on Mars's part, but of course with the North Node in Aries energy, the South Node in Libran energy, the whole kind of, life lesson that we're learning here over the next 18 months is where we have to break away from being too concerned with other people's thoughts and feelings and wants and needs and desires, because we've learned in the past that those people-pleasing skills have constantly put us in a situation to dim our light, to put our own wants and needs and desires on the back burner. So this could be very frustrating for us, could be very irritating for us. This could definitely kind of not rub us the right way. But the masking that we're going to attempt to do, because that's what Libran energy does, is tries to put on a happy-go-lucky mask and keep the depths of the darkness within themselves. We're really going to struggle with that. There may be a pop-off, a little bit of a tantrum, if you will. A lot of the energy that we're trying to mask isn't going to be contained by that mask. We are going to have little blitz of aggression, of frustration, of irritation, and really we're just struggling to find that sweet spot, to find that balance, so that we're not casting everyone aside, but we're also not casting ourselves aside either. The moon in Aries energy is going to interact with Saturn. Saturn, of course, the Lord of Karma, ruling over structures, foundations, roles, responsibilities, who is retrograde in this Pisces energy, trying to help us deconstruct the old belief system. Now, a lot of people get really messed up when I talk about belief systems. They don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, well, are you not questioning everything? Are you not looking at yourself saying, who are you? Are you not looking around saying, how did I create this? Do I still enjoy this? What am I supposed to kind of create in the place of the things that I no longer feel in alignment with? Are you not taking a good look out at the world and saying, what in the sweet Jesus is actually going on here? Are you not questioning the fundamental foundation, the structure, the construct, the programming, the conditioning that you are now realizing that you have to break, that you have to deconstruct, that you have to unlearn in order to actually know thyself, know your truth, know your mission, know your purpose, instead of being kind of, again, told what it is that you think, what it is that you believe, what it is that you should be pursuing, how it is that you should be acting. That's what I mean by belief system. Saturn's here to deconstruct that, because many of us stuck in very bad programming. Very, very negative mind frames, very limiting beliefs. So Saturn's here to help us kind of, wade through these emotional and karmic waters to deconstruct some of those programmings that have us stuck in looping patterns and looping behaviors. The moon in Aries interacting with Saturn in this way is going to illuminate where it is that we are making a little bit of progress, especially in just identifying what we need to tackle, what isn't working, what we would like to change. That is step one. And so though it may not feel like we're making a whole lot of progress, there is this, I'm going to say, realistic perspective that we're now having by looking at our current circumstances and reality on what it is that needs to change, what it is that's actually holding us back, what it is that's actually limiting our energy, our efforts in breaking away from the past and actually building something new in its place. So the only aspect that doesn't involve the moon here today is Mars interacting with Saturn in such a way that is going to bring us down a couple of pegs. First of all, it's going to feel like we got 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake. This is like a stop and go bucking action, if you will. Now, there's a lot of resistance here. The resistance could come from our inner realms where we're kind of exploring fear and doubts and insecurities. The resistance could be trying to make things happen in the physical realm where they kind of get slapped back in our face, or we're banging our head against a wall. And again, if you're kind of in alignment with what I just said, it's because you're trying to make things happen in a particular energy chapter that we're not supposed to be forging forward. We're supposed to be cleaning up the past. So you may want to redirect yourself so that you're not burning yourself out and frustrating yourself by banging your head against a wall, and actually deal with the past like we're supposed to be dealing with at this particular point in time. Whatever it is, there's something preventing us from taking direct action. And again, a lot of that is because we're not being supported in taking direct action in order to create something new. Now, there is a lot of room, a lot of space, a lot of support and encouragement for us to take direct action to clean up the past, to really resolve some of the issues that we've already identified are holding us back from actually making the progress to break away from the old and actually move forward. If you're in that situation and you feel like there's a stop and go, really ask yourself, what is stopping you? Likely, because Saturn's involved, it's the old programming, the old conditioning, the old belief system. And it would be highly advisable at this particular point in time to stand still and observe the thoughts, the ideas, the emotions, the hints, the clues coming at you from all different angles. We have the ability right now to piece together a lot, but of course, Mars is only concerned with advancing himself. He's only concerned with, creating something new. And this is why there's a disconnect here. This is why we need to kind of be brought down a couple of pegs in order for us to see where it is that we're actually going up against ourselves, where we're actually creating blockages for ourselves by beating our head against a wall, trying to blaze a path forward when nothing in our lives is indicating that we have that green light go ahead to go do so. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in this Aries energy, hot and spicy, rearing to go, semi-squaring, creating tension and conflict with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is retrograde in this Taurus energy. So again, just a reminder, Uranus being kind of retrograde in this Taurus energy is supposed to illuminate for us where it is that we know we need to make a change, that we know we need to make a dramatic shift, but very resistant from doing that. Again, fixed earth sign, Taurus energy, very happy to continue to stay stuck in a rut, continue to pray for change, but yet not do a damn thing in order to promote it, to let it in. There's knocks on the door, we're not answering. We have our head buried in the sand right now. This particular interaction between the moon and Uranus, it isn't going to feel good. It's going to highlight confusion. It's going to highlight where it is that we're a little bit stubborn, even within ourselves, arguing with ourselves, fighting, resisting the ideas, the emotions that are coming up in us, forcing us to see where it is that a change and a transformation is needed. So this is likely going to kind of detach us in order to act as the observer. Now, Uranus always brings in a little bit of clarity, but in this aspect, because it's not the nicest one, it's bringing a little bit more confusion than anything else. And that's okay. We're definitely in a time right now where confusion is at an all-time high with all of these retrograde planets. And so we do have to kind of sit in ourselves and just understand where it is that our focus is being asked to be put on. And again, if the moon in Aries has you acting on impulse and having urges to blaze a path moving forward, then you're at war with yourself. You need to redirect that energy, take a good look back. What is preventing you from moving forward? Where in your physical realm are you holding on to the old so freaking tightly that you don't even have a free hand to answer the door when opportunity is knocking? This is going to be an inner realization and epiphany, as we are doing now with Uranus being retrograde.